Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Don't Praise the Machine. This is the internet's #1 comedy podcast about the ways technology is changing culture and so much more. I'm one of your hosts. I go by the name Alexander Apricot Pepsi Holland. I'm sitting in Berlin, Germany, and as always, with me today, as he is every single week, is the #1 tenured professor of podcasting. He's got to be the one called
John Junior Boost Maloney.
the Jolly Junior Boost. And John, we got to get straight into it. The world has gone Raygun crazy. I cannot look out my window without somebody without somebody pointing up at me and going, "Why'd you send that woman to the breakdancing, Alex? It's all your fault. You're in charge of Australian."
I'm sorry.
I'm opening TikTok. I got home from Albania a couple of days ago. I was in Albania last week on a beautiful little holiday, and then as I was getting the train from Berlin airport to my home, there was just a German couple sat across from me. She's holding the phone, pointing at the screen, and the two of them are just giggling their little faces off, and they're and everybody goes, "I know what you're looking at," and they nod their head, and you just think this is a real crazy moment for one lady in particular. So there's going to be most of our listeners are going to know exactly what I'm talking about, John, but maybe just in case they don't, you want to just give a little bit of a classic John Maloney primer. If you've been living under a rock, what you're going to want to know is...
If you've been living under a rock, I'm happy to. I know that people, whilst we're both Australian, people look to me especially to keep an eye on contemporary goings-on in Australia, and nowhere has it been bigger news than here, where we're always looking to humiliate ourselves on the world stage. We did it with Crocodile Dundee. We did it with Steve Irwin. And now we're doing it with Rachel Gunn, a.k.a. Raygun. She is she's a B-girl, which means that she's a breakdancing enthusiast. And she's actually an enthusiast of breakdancing, as I'll come back to this in a moment, as a practitioner, as a participant in competitive breakdancing, where most recently I think she was the winner of the Oceania breakdancing championships. She's previously apparently participated on the world stage. But of course she shot to fame as the participant for Australia in the trialled Olympic sport of breakdancing, which they attempted to bring into the program, probably, I would say, because of her for the last time in Paris 2024. But her other interest in breakdancing is in fact as a lecturer at Macquarie University in Australia, in Sydney, where she lectures in the Department of Media, Communications, Creative Arts, Languages and Literature. Sounds like a bit of a mixed bag department. And she has a PhD in the cultural politics of breakdancing, as I understand it.
Wow, like a doctorate.
So she's got a doctorate in breakdancing, or in breaking, I think they call it.
Yeah.
They don't like to say breakdancing because it makes it sound lame. And she shot to fame, I guess, because she participated in this year at the Olympics in 3 battles, which was the standard, I think, for everyone had to go through these 3.
I like that you've used the correct terminology there as well, John.
Yeah,
3
battles.
I think fresh battles, I think they're called.
Fresh battles, exactly.
I think 3 fresh and hype battles.
She and another person try and out-hype each other for the best breakdancing result. And there's something like 18 judges. It's a large number of judges. I hope I have that right. But you get a score based on, how many of the judges think that you did that particular battle better than your participant. So you might hope if you were you or me, or let's take me, I could go there and get participate and get no points, for example, as an amateur. Or I could participate as Rachel Gunn did and also get no points. So she got a score of 0 each in each of her 3 battles, unfortunately. And she had a fairly unconventional style, which we can maybe unpack a little bit, that was both distinctively hers and perhaps distinctively Australian and divisive, I think you would say.
It has so many elements that make it so ripe for viral success. I was just thinking about this as you spoke about it. The very fact that they've put in to the Olympics breaking, which is which comes from hip hop culture, from what I'm assuming was New York City in the 1970s, like all hip hop culture. So its origin is like pure black culture, American coolness. So if it had been a different sport that she had failed at, or let's not say failed, if she performed unconventionally in some sport, like if they'd introduced some other kind, 10-pin bowling and she'd done it badly, then it wouldn't really be much of a story because it doesn't have that cringe factor of somebody attempting to both perform well at something and be cool at the same time, because that's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's very true.
Breakdancing is it's hyper cool. So because part of breaking is showing that you're cool, you're crossing your arms, you're holding your chin, you're going,
shaking your head,
you're going, come at me.
Yeah.
So she's doing
you're
this.
Dissing and hyping.
You're dissing and hyping. That's such a part of the breaking game, of the b-boy game, of the b-girl game that we know so well. So the very fact that she was doing a bit of that, she's doing a little bit of the chin, like, yeah, come at me. Look what I just did to you. And the fact that she hadn't really done a lot to warrant such fronting, as we say. It really does just add that layer of lameness to it, because everyone's going, oh no, she's trying to be cool and it's all gone wrong. And then, as you said, the first thing that jumped to mind, I think for a lot of people, was that Chris Lilly character. It just screamed of what? Do you know off the top of your head the character's name?
I think it's Mr. G. He's the kind of cool music teacher.
Yeah, and instantly,
or he's like a total dag, but he thinks he's cool.
And instantly, people just started putting that. I think I sent this. I don't know if you checked, but I sent this to you because you first sent it to me. I woke up in the morning in Albania. And you said, you got to check this out. And I said, oh, I don't need this morning. I'm trying to shine with national pride, and this is not going to help. Yeah. And you just said, this is giving me very Chris Lilly, Mr. G vibes. And then I opened TikTok, and it was video after video of people that had done pastiches where they had combined collages, where they had combined both the Mr. G speech and vision with the dance in perfect timing.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And so you were telling me that you've had a little bit of a look at Rachel Raygun's academic history and
I have
performances.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a mantle, I guess, to live up to as the number one tenured professor of podcasting.
Yeah.
She did this classic thing, which was a kind of like a kangaroo hop pose, which has been making waves, but I mean, the thing that I don't know, like looking at that, it's like if you do, I mean, breakdancing, partly because it's so dependent on coolness, but also because it's kind of a bit dated and, campy or something.
Yeah.
If you do, there's a really fine line. Like you've got to do it very well for it to be cool and not kind of lame. And what she's done is, she's much better at it than I would be.
Yeah.
But she's kind of slowed it down a little bit to the point where it looks like a bit sort of effortful and a bit too kind of clunky. And then, you're kind of still maintaining this posture of somebody who's pulling off something that's really cool, and it just makes you go, "Oh Christ!" Like it's like a kind of school assembly where a kid gets up and does something that they think they're like incredibly good at. And everyone's a bit like, "Oh, that wasn't that great."
Later on, I actually want to get to how she is going to move forward with this, and we can have a little bit of empathy and compassion, but only at the end of this bit. We're not we're not front loading the show with that. That's not what DPTM's about.
No, I agree. And I've been saying, because everyone wants to say, isn't she kind of a charming anti-hero? And personally, I'm not there yet.
No.
I think Australia's got a long history of kind of underdog dags. Basically, everyone we put into the Winter Olympics fits that description because none of them are that great at what they're doing. And I'm happy to like get behind those people and go, yeah, have a crack. It's very Australian to kind of, not do that well, but kind of give it a good go. And everyone loves that here and everyone will respect you for that. But something about her performance. And I think part of it is that she has this identity as an academic who specializes in begirling. And and so I did a little bit of digging.
Because you've got access to the journals that no one else has access to.
I actually do, yeah. So for anyone who hasn't followed that aspect of my persona, I'm a lecturer at Melbourne Law School. So I looked up Dr. Rachel Gunn. That's her official title. She's a lecturer, as I said, at Macquarie University, which is a pretty well-regarded university in Sydney. And it says here, Rachel Gunn is this is a kind of official academic page, interdisciplinary and practice-based researcher interested in the cultural politics of breaking. She holds a PhD in cultural studies and a Bachelor of Arts with honours in contemporary music from Macquarie. Her work draws on cultural theory, dance studies, popular music studies, media and ethnography. She's a practicing breaker and goes by the name of Raygun. Mm-hmm. And it goes through some of her accolades, including, as I said, taking out the Oceania Breaking Championships title in 2023. But I had a look as well I clicked over to the tab Research Outputs, and because I was interested in what someone who has a PhD in the politics of breaking is on about. And look, I'm not one of those people who likes to, like I'm in that world. I appreciate that there's a need for sometimes wanky sounding research to take place that the public might not immediately understand the value of, but that's all fine. But when I looked at some of the entries of this particular top-ranked big girl, I did think this is a little bit on the nose, and it did make me think. When sort of neoliberal ideologues bring a hatchet to university departments, this is the kind of shit that really makes them red in the face. So she first of all, this one's from a few years ago, and it seems to be a piece of research that was kind of an unconventional piece of research in that it consisted of a performance. It says research output, non-traditional research output performance, and the title of the performance is Mighty Morphin Mega Battle 1v1 Breaking. And it's a performance that she's called Entering B-Girl Raygun. And she says here, this is the abstract for the performance. Entering B-Girl Raygun contributes insights that deepen our understanding of women's experience in breaking. Building upon my previous research, it develops a new form of embodied knowledge that intervenes into the gendered hierarchies of breaking. It features a series of performances across a variety of women's and open competitions that are each step judged by a panel of experts, and it brings together creative process, practices, research, autoethnographies, self-reflexivity, and a feminist perspective to broaden and open up the breakdance floor for women's engagement and expression. So I like that a lot. And I thought, that's great. I'm glad that
that's there. I'm glad that that's there.
I'm glad that that's there, and I'm glad that a publicly subsidized institution is bankrolling that kind of research. And and then I found another one, the Australian breaking scene and the Olympic Games. So this is kind of in advance of her performance. She wrote something about this. The possibilities and politics of sportification. And I've extracted a little highlight from this. Isolated from the major breaking hubs of North America, Asia, and Europe, Australia's breaking scene is marked by distinct, self-determined, localized scenes separate from each other by the geographic expansiveness of this island continent. Here, breaking is a space for those othered by Australian institutions to express themselves and engage in new hierarchies of respect. It says, we argue that breaking's institutionalization via the Olympics will place breaking more firmly within this sporting nation's hegemonic settler colonial structure. I'm not making this up. Within this sporting nation's hegemonic settler colonial structures that rely on racialized and gendered hierarchies. So basically she's worried that I think that the project of decolonization will be harmed by putting breakdancing in the Olympics, which is an interesting perspective. And then she's one more. Where are the hashtag B-girls at? Politics of invisibility in breaking culture. And I've extracted again a bit from the abstract here. Representation is a central tenet of hip-hop culture, yet women's experiences and contributions have long been invisibilized. That's a nice academic buzzword. This article reveals some of the barriers to visibility facing women in breaking, brackets B-girls. It shows how B-girls respond to gender-based challenges and their sense of obligation to be visible in order to promote gender equality through participant observation interviews with Sydney B-girls and online case studies. This article situates B-girling practices in relation to a hip-hop feminist framework. This article shows how white, heteropatriarchal, neoliberal structures shape visibility in breaking culture and how B-girls respond to, negotiate, challenge, and enact their representation. I think that doesn't really need any unpacking. I think everyone can understand both the substance and merit of that project. And so I thought I might do one because, I've got to get my performance review will probably take place sometime later this year. And
at the university?
At the Melbourne Law School, they've got to decide, can you go from lecturer to senior lecturer? If I want to do that, then I've got to show a bit of research. And I thought, what better way to do that than to seize on this moment of Raygun's fame and celebrity and maybe set myself up as a bit of a interlocutor to some of her research. I mean, I thought one of the things that I feel that this whole saga demonstrates is we've long had in this country a lot of, I don't know to what extent people from outside Australia are really aware of this, but there's this whole thing of the tall poppy syndrome in Australia, and which is basically that we anyone who kind of shows themselves to be successful or wants to kind of talk up their accomplishments, we're very inclined to take them down a few pegs. Anyone who's sort of, trying to be great at something, we're a little bit too critical. That's the criticism. But I think when you see things like Raygun, you think maybe we need to be tall poppy cutters because it sort of vindicates it when you think, well, this is what happens when you encourage people too much. You get people dragging us through the mud on the world stage. So I don't know. Or I could use, the other idea I had was I've written a little bit about Australia's, the Australian government's use of citizenship cancellation powers. And I'm generally critical of that, but I do think this might be a case where we should render Raygun stateless as a reprisal.
She's just going to be trapped in Singapore airport for all eternity or something. We'll put her on Christmas Island for a while.
Exactly. Just bee-girling on a tropical island.
How? I mean, I'm sure some of these questions are being answered as we speak, and some of them probably, it's the kind of thing where the Australian Olympic Committee doesn't want to answer the question, so the questions just won't be answered, or they'll be obfuscated somehow. Like saw the head of the Australian Olympic Committee, that lady whose face keeps appearing. I just keep seeing her when Australians at the Olympics were like trying to buy cocaine or failing at break dancing, which is just trotting her out to go, this look, guys, look, it's a tough day. Yeah. It's a tough day in Paris for Aussies.
Yeah, exactly. She's like the kind of team mum.
Yeah, she's very much the team mum. And when they asked her,
like, explain. Yeah.
Because obviously the press just went, oh, look, Rachel Raygun's had quite a lot of attention online. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
And she just went,
not all of it positive.
Look, guys, I love Rachel. I bloody love her. Like, she gets out there, she has a spin, and that's all there is to it. And these bloody keyboard warriors are out there making memes, having a laugh. Just drop it, guys. That's not. Look, she is our best breakdancer. That is, and I can't help but think that she just can't be. And I just want to know. I mean, I was saying to you, we grew up watching kids in Rundle Mall and even in Melbourne, and you'd see kids throw the mat down. And they would just like do mental shit. In my experience, it was often like kids from Hong Kong that had just gone. Yeah. There was something about that community that really latched on to breaking. Yeah. And I'm just like, where are the kids?
Shout out to Roger.
Yeah, shout out to Roger Chan.
Classmate.
Yeah. Like
he got right into it.
He got right into it, exactly. And where are those kids? Because I'm sure their voices I could be wrong. I have a little bit of a feeling that their voices are being silenced. There's got to be some female Australian break dancers that are like crazy. Yeah. And they're just going, excuse me, nobody told me, or I was not able to compete in the heats. Like, because I remember when you sent this to me, I mean, I don't want to be ageist, but the first thing that that struck me was when I heard that she hadn't performed great, Raygun.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of looked at the photograph you sent me, and I was like, she doesn't look particularly spry. Like, I was like, that looks like a slightly older woman. And which only
looks like she might be a breakdancing coach.
Yeah, she looks maybe and then it sort of gave her that Chris Lilly-esque image as well. Because I'm like, isn't this this is very acrobatic breakdancing. It's the kind of thing that I'm sure you can really murder at, and then up until maybe, I don't know, like your early to mid 20s, because you're really flicking your body around.
Yeah.
And the fact that I looked at her and I was like, she looks a bit older. And then I was going, why are we? And then I was, this is 36. And I was going, look, if she was 36 and was the best, and maybe she is, then, more power to her. But I couldn't help but go, is she like mates with somebody? Or did they say, oh, she's a doctor in breakdancing. She does research in breakdancing. So we've got to give her the opportunity. Because I'm just like, there's got to be like a 17-year-old Asian girl, some child of Chinese migrants that's like absolutely ripping it up out the front of Flinders Street Station in Melbourne or something.
Yeah. Maybe there's some kind of
where is she?
Old-fashioned insistence on amateur breakdancers that means if you put a hat down in the mall and breakdanced for money, you're ineligible to go to the Olympics. But
do you know what they've said? Like, was there?
Well, I know. I'm just looking at her profile now.
Yeah,
because it says she was the Australian Breakdancing Association's top-ranked big girl in 2020 and 2021. Now, whether there was whether there was, I know that COVID took its toll on the B-girl community, so that could explain her rise to fame in that period.
Wiped them out.
And then
unusually tragic end. It affected the Australian breakdancing community. It's because their immune systems were so compromised from the amount of windmills that they had to do, which we know really breaks down your immune system. They were just left open to the virus.
Yeah,
Just do too many flares and windmills will leave your immune system extremely weak for the virus to just come in and wipe you out.
And she represented Australia at the World Breaking Championships in Paris in 2021, in Seoul in 2022, and in Leuven in Belgium in 2023. Now,
shout out to my friend. Shout out to my friend Tristan, who's from Leuven, and is Stella Artois.
Oh, there you go.
Shout out to Stella Artois and my friend Tristan.
I mean, she represented. I don't know how well she did. I guess it's also one of those sports where we think, this is just a bit of fun, so we don't really need to send our best and brightest if we even, and maybe the breakdancing, the Association of Breakdancing in Australia. Also, it's the kind of thing where you go, what are the criteria of success? But they might now be internally facing some tough questions, mightn't they? About, is it our fault that LA and Brisbane aren't going to have breakdancing, and we worked
our national shame.
We worked for decades to earn respect, and just like that, it's gone. So the moment she did the kangaroo pose, it's also not gonna. You know, the IOC woman was there going, "She is our best female breakdancer," and that's the end of the story. And it's not going to take long for somebody to come. If there are better Australian female breakdancers, like, it's got to already be happening. There's going to be a TikTok video of some girl in bloody Gold Coast going, "Excuse me, can you just watch this?" And just absolutely tearing it up on the mat. And then the question is going to be like, "Well, how did you not?" And they'll go, "Well, the Australian Breakdancing Association is not familiar with that young lady." And it's like, okay, exactly. Well, how connected to the Australian breaking? I mean, Raygun is the authority. She is the person that knows. Yeah, exactly. Exactly what's going on. She's written academic. She's not just chatting about it at the pub. She's writing academic papers about the girls. And it could be that. I mean, the irony of all this from the point of view of her research could be that the Australian Breakdancing Association is itself an Australian institution that has othered people. That's right. And anyone that isn't Raygun. Exactly. Not allowed a space. It's really the worst. It represents the worst of hegemonic settler colonial structures. So it's interesting because she wrote about, like, if we put this in the Olympics, it won't really work, essentially. And she's kind of proved that that's true. Well, I did see somebody on TikTok saying that maybe this is the ultimate troll, where she had said it won't work at the Olympics, and then she's gone and let me show you how it doesn't, and then deliberately offered up a little bit of a pants performance. Yeah, that would be the 4D chess move yet. 4D chess. That's right. That's real 4D chess shit. I do want to speak now about because we've had our fun and we are compassionate men. That's one thing that I've got here. The internet's #1 comedy podcast about the ways that technology is changing culture and empathy. They're the two things that the podcast is about. And I think Australia's favourite tech and pop culture empaths. That's what we are. Just a lot of the podcast going, yes. Yes, I get it. Of course. But you can't help but think. You can't help but have just putting yourself in her high tops for a second. Just dance a mile in her high tops.
What a bizarre experience to be having right now, to have been a completely unknown academic and breaking enthusiast, and then to go, she would just think nobody's going to see this. Maybe, maybe I'll get invited on, an Australian panel show after the Olympics, or maybe somebody will have a brief chat to me after I just give my little performance, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
And then to become the number one most chatted about thing online and around the world. As I say, I get off a flight from Albania and there's just Germans on a train just giggling to each other. So essentially what's happened, because we've spoken a lot on the podcast about people who become instantly famous for attempting, you're better with language than me, John. So someone who's giving an earnest performance, or they've created a piece of art which is not a joke, it's meant to be their serious expression of something, and they think, I've done a great job at this. They fail miserably, and us as humans, we have this weird thing inside of us where we love to laugh at people who fail at something that they've tried their very best at. It's that kind of, it's just pure cringe, and there's something in us that makes us just want to go, just laugh and laugh and laugh at somebody else's expense.
And the more earnest they've been about it, and vulnerable,
exactly,
the easier that is. And and you do kind of go, I mean, obviously part of my reaction was like, that's pretty rough, but then the other thing that happens is, if those people are savvy, like those two idiots who did the Island Boy song, and that wasn't like, look how dumb we are. It was like, oh, we're cool musicians. But then they realized people are laughing at us, but like, we'll have our 15 minutes of fame, and do some cameos and whatever. And I wonder if Raygun will, because I mean, I guess she could continue to be, to kind of take a posture of, well, you guys just don't understand breakdancing, which is true, I don't, and
but I know enough to know that wasn't great. That wasn't great.
I don't know breakdancing, but I know what I like, I mean, and I have seen, as you say, men and women who I've watched and gone, holy crap, that's a real skill. And that wasn't necessarily what I thought when I saw Raygun. But, she might say, look, that's just my style and whatever. Or she might go, yeah, I'll just kind of accept my mantle as a sort of beloved, somebody. And there's a few people like that in Australian sport who are kind of, who've lent into that for their profit. The most prominent example I can think of is a speed skater who you might know, who's now I'm just trying to remember his name, but he famously, Stephen Bradbury, he famously, won a gold when everyone else fell over, and you can still, to this day, if I wanted Stephen Bradbury to come to my birthday in December, that's the kind of shit he does.
I love that you've thrown in December there. I'd love Stephen Bradbury to come to my birthday, March 14th to 18th. Just like
exactly. Just a reminder to everyone, 12th of December. It's going to be me and Stephen Bradbury. He might give me a piggyback, take me around the ice rink.
But so I mean, when I was in Albania,
I know somebody who was at an event.
Who
was at an event that Stephen Bradbury, it was like an office party, and Stephen Bradbury came along and apparently just got completely blasted.
So as an appearance, he still gets paid to do appearances.
Exactly. And, that's an option for Raygun. Or she might think, I'll definitely get tenure at Macquarie out of my just my profile, because people will be signing up to her classes now going, oh, I just want to have a selfie with Raygun.
I just want to get my essays marked by Raygun.
Exactly.
I can sell that on eBay. You could sell a paper that had been graded by Raygun.
Yeah.
I mean, because I was in Albania last week, and somebody that we were with hadn't seen the film The Room. So I think most people will know The Room by Tommy Wiseau is regarded as the worst film ever made, and it's for the same reason that it's for that same reason we were talking about. It's an earnest attempt to do something that you think is important and is an expression of yourself, and it just falls on its face, and everybody just goes, I just want to laugh at this forever. And and what Tommy Wiseau, the maker of the film, has done is what most people, John, do in this situation, which I can't help but feel somewhat frustrated with this weird thing that happens when somebody tries to do something earnestly. Think about Rebecca Black on YouTube with Friday. Think about Tay Zonday with Chocolate Rain. Any fail where somebody tried to do something creative and they fall on their face and they get a ton of attention, and then that it's a unique opportunity to monetize that attention. I believe Rebecca Black, who made Friday, still lives off being Rebecca Black. I think her YouTube channel has 2 million subs. I might look her up as we speak. And so she did that one song which everybody laughed at. Friday, Friday, come on everybody, it's Friday. And you just thought, well, surely there's no money in that. But of course, anybody who works in like marketing and stuff knows there is. And I think that she's just now is like an entertainer or a YouTuber, probably does appearances, sells Rebecca Black merch. Rebecca Black, let's have a look. So she has...
I mean, surely sponsors are reaching out to Raygun as we speak.
Absolutely. So Rebecca Black has 1.52 million subscribers, which is that's bang. You got 1.52 million subs on YouTube, particularly for somebody who's been on YouTube for as long as her. That you know what to do. That's a huge monetizable audience, and so I'm very interested to see what happens with Raygun, because as we've discussed on the podcast before, and this is the thing that kind of it frustrates me, and maybe I shouldn't let it frustrate me. But I am because we talk a lot on the show also about irony, in particularly Australia's love of irony. I've already seen a couple of clips of Raygun that have come out since her performance went viral, and she seems, I haven't seen her speak, but I think she was on the Instagram and TikTok channel of that Australian comedy duo called The Inspired Unemployed. And they're doing like a bit of a bit with her where they walk. I think this was shot after her performance. They're walking down the street with her in Paris, and, they're doing like cool hip hop moves, and she's doing it with them. And it's almost like, she's not going to accept or discuss that everybody's laughing at her. And maybe this is not what anybody wants, because I think what generally happens in these circumstances, which again I just find kind of bizarre, is that she'll do an interview now, and the interviewers won't say, "Hey, Raygun, everybody's laughing at you because you tried your best at something and you failed terribly, and it was absolutely hilarious. It made us all feel above you, and you're an absolute joke." And how you're dealing with that.
You're Australia's favourite. It's true, and it's partly for the benefit of the people who want to meanly laugh. And I think, because we want to go, oh, it's okay because she's in on it now. She's having fun with it.
Yeah.
Whereas I want somebody to go, no, I'm not having fun with it. I meant to do this seriously. If you want to continue to laugh at me, that's on you, and you should feel bad about yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you can go, look, you've had your fun. And I get that, but this has been, she should go, look, you've had your fun, but I want you to know that I tried my best and I thought it was good. And this has been an experience which has been so painful that you cannot begin to understand what I've been through. Imagine having the entire world just laugh and point at you, and imagine how your ego would cope with that. And probably as a self-defense mechanism, this is why she won't say what I just said. She'll be like, it's this, you have to do this weird dance where now she's going to somehow pretend that it wasn't what it was. And she'll kind of lean into this, oh, it was just campy, and I'm just I'm a fun gal. And then people will interview her, and she'll be on all the she'll be on international news. She'll be getting management as we speak, because this is whatever happens. It's if you get the right management, this is big money. Like the amount of attention that she's got. Any advertiser right now would just be going, bloody get her on right now. And if she gets the right manager, man, she'll be made for life.
She could be the jolly human face of Raytheon, the defense contractor. She could pretend to wield a Raytheon manufactured firearm called the Raygun.
So I'm really interested to just see how she conducts herself in interviews, like and how the interviewers, like, what do they say? Like the Australian one, Raygun, you've become an absolute national icon. We love you. And it's like, no, that's not true. That's not true.
Yeah.
She didn't perform.
Exactly.
She didn't perform well. We love
Steve Monaghetti. He was a national icon because he was really good.
But yeah, I mean, I can't help but have a certain amount of empathy for her because, because you just think what a bizarre situation this must be for her. And I saw somebody else on TikTok say a similar thing. Say just imagine what's going on in her life at the moment. And this particular person said, I wonder, because I think he was a Kiwi, and he was saying, like a Kiwi comedian, he was saying, what I'm really interested in at the moment is what's happening with her friendship circle and her friends, because you know that there's a Rachel Raygun group chat right now with her friends that she is not a part of, and they are all chatting. And, do they take some amount of responsibility for saying, you go girl, you are the B girl of Australia's dreams. And then
one of them's just going, guys, we all really need to rally around her now.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if she will do a Grandpa Simpson where she'll turn around and go, like, everyone's kind of giggling at her, and she goes, well, why didn't you tell me? Why'd you keep it a secret? Like, why didn't you tell me that I wasn't great at this? Because now I'm a global laughing stock. Real thanks, guys.
Yeah. Well, apparently her trainer and her inspiration for the person who got her into breaking was her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And now husband, Ronald Raygun. Sorry, I just wanted to do that one.
So, I mean, we are still looking for our first guest on the podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
And this has been a fairly nuanced discussion. As I said, we were going to end it. We're going to push we're going to have a compassion and empath session at the end of it, which I don't expect. And also, what's that shitty panel show with Steve Heller and all the geese on Channel 10?
Oh, The Project.
Yeah, don't go on The Project, Raygun. Those people are fucking... They're going to do exactly what I just said. They're going to go,
yeah.
You know what? You absolutely... Like, you're one of hearts, and you gave it... You gave... That's what being Aussie's about. It's about having a go and having a crack.
Yeah, that is exactly what they'll say.
We want to hear...
And we can write to our people and say, look, that's all well and good, but... We want to do the real deal. You know, you're a doctor. You're not an idiot. You understand culture and politics and how all this is playing out. So if you want to have a real discussion about the malicious keyboard warriors who made you feel terrible,
then this is the show for you, Rachel Gunn.
Yeah.
And look, John's a fellow academic, so you guys can speak academic talk. Man, the amount of times that I've been in a conversation with John and he's used the phrase settler colonialist, it's a lot. And it's really, it's really made our friendship very fragile, because I cannot tell you the amount of times I've heard settler colonialist. And what was the other ones she was using? Sort of gendered othering.
Yeah, there's gendered othering. There's a lot of... I bet she uses the word praxis, which people like to say instead of practice. And she loves heteropatriarchal neoliberal structures.
Man, this just sounds
and
like
I'll say that to you, and you'll say, which I'm just trying to show you what currywurst is like. I don't really think that comes into it.
So let's
say how you couldn't be more wrong.
As you just throw it in the bin, as you throw the currywurst in the bin, shaking your head, just saying you've got no idea how much blood is on. I go, that's how much blood is on this currywurst. I just go, that's ketchup. Why did you? And then I just go, why'd you even come? Why'd you even come to visit me? So we are looking for our first guest. And as I say, this time we'll talk about her again this time next week, because I am so fascinated to see the path that she takes now and how she responds to the attention. And as we say, how does she frame this now? Does she say, I tried my best, I goofed it up.
Yeah.
That's been tough. I thought I was pretty, because this is obviously what happened. I thought I was pretty good. Even if I didn't think I was going to win, I didn't think that I was going to become a global laughingstock. That's been real tough. And now I need to go away for a while and just kind of process that. No, she's going to do this thing where she gets a marketing team. She gets a PR team, and they're going to frame it for her, and they're going to go, here's what you do. There must be a playbook for when you become a fail and you need to monetize the fail. It's like, this is how you frame the fail. It's like
exactly.
It's the Tommy Wiseau approach.
Get together with the Wiggles, and everyone's going to be doing the Raygun by Christmas. Don't worry about
it. I mean, look, you know what? As well, we are just weeks away from Halloween, and you know what the outfit is going to be. Absolutely, like if you want a business idea right now, if you want to, like, I shouldn't be giving this away on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, you need to procure green tracksuit pants and green shirts from China and a green cap, and you need to start selling that Halloween outfit as Australian Olympic dancer. With you know, you do like the hair out the back as well. Buy it from China for $5, sell it for 20. This is money. You're gonna sell 1 million of them.
Yeah, it's true.
Because you can do the dance in the outfit, and imagine the social media clout of just. I've already seen so many TikTok videos of everybody that's just frantically grabbed the first green cap and green shirt and green track pants that they could find and start. And also it's been a great opportunity for all of the American comedians on TikTok who are quite good at the Australian accent to just jump on and go, G'day guys, it's me, Rachel Gunn. And I absolutely love breaking. And when they said, you can't break dance, Rachel, you can't go to the Olympics, can you? And I said, I bloody can. And they did. And they all
can,
no, everybody's doing there. No, I can break. No, you're wrong. I can break dance. No.
Totally.
So, look, John, I'm just hoping that because we're only a few days out from this trending event, that once we throw this on YouTube and do a couple of TikToks,
we'll get a little reflected glory.
I'm hoping we get a little reflected glory, because we're right on the cusp of this not being on trend, but it comes out tonight. So we're going to see what happens. And as I said, I love that I wrote to you and I said, can you bring your academic touch? And you said, I'm way ahead of you. I'm deep in these academic papers right now.
Yeah. I got the librarian at the Melbourne Law School to print me out a portfolio of Rachel's research. I've been deep in it. I'm pleased to be able to bring to bear my number one professor of podcasting.
Yeah.
But backstory. Look, shout out to Rachel and her husband, Ronald. If you're willing to reach out, we're very happy to hear from you on the show in the coming weeks.
Yeah. Well, everyone, that's been the Rachel Raygun episode. We'll check back in next week and we'll discuss exactly what kind of path she's taken, what kind of opportunities have been laid at her feet, because she's going to be minted for life. And I do love that about it. No matter how much humiliation she's had to swallow from this, she'll never have to work a day again in her life if she knows what she's doing.
She does it right. Yeah.
If she does it right. And John, before we end the show, a little reminder to everybody once more, we have launched the DPTM Patreon. And I really want to thank our first patrons that have been streaming in the last couple of weeks, which has been lovely. Opening up my Gmail and it says a new patron has supported you.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
I want to,
it's very touching.
I want to say heaps thanks to those people, which I don't have the names in front of me, but I'll throw a few names out there in the next couple of weeks to say real thanks to all those people who jumped on. If you want to support Don't Praise the Machine, the podcast, and receive a whole bunch of hot and fresh bonuses, including bonus episodes, early episodes, and access to some exclusive merch, you can find us at you can find us at patreon.com/DPTM. Or John, I noticed we're already in Google. If you just Google Patreon DPTM, it's already scraped. Google's already scraped for us, and we're the first thing that come up on Google. So if you just Google Patreon Don't Praise the Machine or Patreon DPTM, the first thing that's going to come up there is Don't Praise the Machine. Lawyer and DJ chat about how technology is changing culture. We have 3 different tiers of membership, and you can pick the one that suits you and your family. John, do you want to see us out of a special Rachel Raygun Olympic episode that was for big girls?
Yeah. Thank you very much, B-boys and B-girls, from the Don't Praise the Machine community. Why don't you tell us what you think of the emerging saga of Rachel Gunn, and what do you think of the Paris Olympics overall? Has it been irrevocably tarnished by Rachel's legacy? Has Australia's humiliation on the world stage done damage in the wake of a long period in which we've not had a humiliating global figure? Did you think that Rachel Raygun Gunn's humiliation was outshone by any particular Olympians? Race walkers, I'm looking at you because that's one of the dumbest sports I've ever seen.
Don't go too fast. Don't go too fast.
We got to talk about that at some stage. But in any event, thank you very much for joining us on this special deep dive into an Australian pop culture sporting phenomenon. And we can't wait to see you next week
at the podcast.